Hey, Phil, thanks for doing the show today. As a way of getting started, give us a little background on yourself.
Well, thanks, Brian, and thank you so much for having me. I'm a New England guy, born and raised, and other than a 4-year stint down in the Carolinas for college, I came back to New England, started my career at a company called A Copy America, and I actually started with the old IBM typewriters. So it goes back a bit and a
Yeah.
time. And here I am today, 35 years later, 3 kids through college, 2 happily married. And my wife and I have a beautiful lake home, and I consider myself truly fortunate and blessed. So it's been a long haul, a lot of learning and growing, but just the chase, the thrill, and being a sales rep. It's a passion, and I loved it, and that's one of the reasons why I love, your podcast and going on LinkedIn and seeing your stuff. It's just so much a part of my life, and your sayings and your comments and the strategy and discussion with all the other sales reps across the country and the world. It's really engaging and fun. I feel like I can contribute, and it's just why I was drawn in to you and your website.
Yeah. I find it kind of weird because I got this comment on YouTube the other day where this guy was saying that he saved up money for his kids to go through college so that they wouldn't have to go into sales.
You know,
And
it's
I'm like,
funny. Yeah. Are you crazy?
why? So they can make half as much
I
and
know.
sit in meetings all day.
Oh, that's so funny. It's funny because my 2 boys, who are both in their 30s now, back in the day, as you know, we'd get up, put on a suit and a tie. And of course, the shirt had to be white or gray. The suit had to be dark, your classic Xerox IBM model. And my kids would always say, Dad, I don't want to wear a suit. And I'm like, well, it depends what you sell, but it ain't so bad, boys. You schedule your own time, your own appointments. I go to your soccer games, lacrosse games. I go, you control your own destiny. And
And
that's
that's
always been it for me.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I did the engineering route until I found out how much the salespeople made, and it was like I was working probably harder as an engineer. It was 7 days a week, every waking hour. You had to get a release out, and I was making my target income was their base income. And I
Right,
was
right, right, right. I remember we'd have people over to our home and everyone would be like, Phil, what do you do for a living? Well, I sell a copy machine. And they were like looking at me like, are you a doctor? Are you? No, I'm not a doctor. I sell copy machines. But the opportunity to write your own ticket,
yeah,
it blew my mind. I remember my father saying my first year, um, so this is going back to, the late 80s, but I was sitting with my dad and I told him year one, I did about 25, 30 grand. And then year two, I had hit 60 grand. My father said, I've never in my life doubled my income. And that struck a chord with me in the late 80s. I've never in my life doubled my income.
yeah,
And, it just something clicked.
cool. Well,
Yeah.
well, let's talk about your journey. I'm sure you learned a lot along the way.
You know it's so funny you say that. Is it the School of Hard Knocks or is it all the training curriculums you go to, Brian? It's a combination of both. I mean, I'm at where I'm at because I had my teeth kicked in for 35 years. I'm also where I'm at because I've attended selling seminars on spin selling, Sandler Submarine, layer, listen, explore, acknowledge, respond, consultative selling, solution selling. I mean, I've been through every selling seminar there is to mankind. You pick out bits and pieces, you stay true to yourself, you get your teeth kicked in, and it's an evolution. Um, and then you reach a point and you're just, I don't want to say cocky, it's your confidence. And it's this level you have that you know if you really dive in and execute a plan, it's winnable.
Yeah.
And even cooler, Brian, you know when you're kind of on the outside looking in and you say, I can focus my energy somewhere else. And it's very rewarding to think after this journey that I'm almost there. And of course I'll never be there. But
Yeah.
I do feel at a spot in my life, it's almost fun. It's fun. It's a game.
Because I felt that myself and I see it a lot in reps. What was that turning point, that kind of epiphany where it went from kind of a grind to all of a sudden you got it? Kind of what you characterize as cocky, but that level of confidence, what they call the flow state, where you could brush off the
Wow.
rejection and just focus in on what works for you.
I don't know. I Brian, I don't know if there was a moment
Yeah.
where I said, I'm on easy street because I still take a loss today as hard as I did 30 years ago.
Do you?
Yeah, because I compete.
You're in
I
hyper competitive space.
incredibly.
Yeah.
I just, I'm not going to call it Charlie Sheen winning, but but but
Tiger's
I
blood.
yeah, I know. Oh boy, poor guy. Um, but I am going to say that I wake up competing every
Yeah.
day, and I've never lost it. And somewhere along that line, I still want to compete every day. Athletically, my knees and ankles say forget it. But competing in the business world, mentally, it's very rewarding. It keeps me stimulated. So I never had the epiphany. I never said I made it. I still don't think I made it, but I don't know. Maybe 5 or 10 years ago, I just came to the resolution I'm blessed and fortunate.
Well, I think we all go through this journey where, you know, like what you brought up about the sales seminars, you start with books, blog posts, whatever the
Yeah,
common content is at the
yeah.
time, because you're always looking for the secret, the magic bullet, and those things are helpful, but then you get to a point where you get some success and all of a sudden you start having good judgment skills. Especially you work in a hyper competitive space and a very difficult territory. I grew up in New England. I know how friendly the people are up there,
Well said. Uh, yeah,
how
I'm with you,
welcome they
bud.
are to strangers,
Oh,
trusting.
yeah, very puritanistic values. But New England's like that. Now, on the flip side, when that relationship is truly established, so I'm in a whole new industry today,
Yeah.
and I have friends from 25 years ago. We still have a cigar together and we talk about the old days selling the copy machines. And he's with one company, I'm with another. And today our families are friends based on those relationships. And, that's another just outside rewarding aspect of the job that there are 3 or 4 people I can today say that's one of my best friends. And it came about from a job where that business relationship turned into the kids, the wives, what about dinner one night? Let's catch a sporting event. And then it was, hey, maybe we'll get together on the weekend for a cookout. And that's one of those outside rewards. Another reason I fell in love with being a sales rep.
Yeah. Because New England has that thing. It's like you're outside the tribe until you're inside. But
No
once
doubt.
you're inside, it's a great place
Yeah.
to be.
Correct. Correct. And another thing, I mean, I think about this frequently. Um, change, that fun word change, and just being able to adapt. The market changes, products change, territories change, compensation packages change. And not only do you have to go with the flow and continuously evolve, you also have to maintain that relationship. And you
Yeah.
have to have that trust and effort to say, we're changing and here's why. Can you go with me? Because it could work for both of us. And
Yeah.
that's part of the partnership. And I always found the people unwilling to change were the people, I spent 25 years at one company, and
Right.
my kids are like, Is there something wrong with you?" And I think nowadays you're supposed to change every 3 to 4 years to show versatility. But I always felt that the people who couldn't change quit and went to the next job and the next job and the next job. I thought the people that changed were the ones who spent 20 years at one organization, different products, different comp,
Right.
different solutions.
Now, how have you prevented burnout? Because that's the classic thing. Because this type of career, the good part is you have the variable in control over your income. The bad part is it gets reset pretty much every year. So the handicap becomes bigger and bigger, harder and harder.
Yeah, are you asking me about maybe burning out?
Yeah.
You know, has not happened to me. It's something interesting, but throughout 34 or 35 years, the amazing thing is every 30 days you get a fresh start. Every
Whether you like it
30
or not.
days you get to reinvent. I mean, you're the king. June 1, you're in the bottom.
You're
You're in
nobody.
the bottom of the basement on the 30th. You get a fresh start July 1. Every 30 days you get to reinvent. I guess that keeps me fresh. That keeps me motivated. That keeps me from getting complacent.
Yeah.
So, interestingly, I haven't burnt out. I'm sure one day I'll be sitting on a golf course in the cart telling people to speed up, speed up. But for today, that every 30-day cycle,
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, it's a grind, but it's also every 30 days a reset, a restart. And you know, I've never been too high, I've never been too low, and I'm an emotional guy. I mean, I'm one of those people that say they wear their emotions on their sleeve. Um, but I love the opportunity every month to restart, reinvent, salvage a month, a
Yeah.
quarter, a year. You're never out of the game, Bry. You're never out.
Cool. And what do you wish you knew at the beginning that you know now?
Well, something you posted a few weeks ago about listening skills. I spent the first 5, 10 years trying to share my wisdom and knowledge, which didn't go so well.
where,
And
where the little grasshoppers didn't gather around you?
yeah, yeah. And, here I am, 30 years later, still working on those listening skill sets. Um, I guess if there's anything I knew from the get go was to really, you know, stay calm, stay in the moment, stay in the moment in that conversation with the customer, and really, what are they asking me and what can I solve for them rather than to throw up what I know and offer. And that took a while. I
Yeah.
mean, you just want to prove that you have value, and in a good way, in a good way. You genuinely want to share information. And I wasn't willing to just take a back seat and listen. And that took time. I guess my wife would tell you I'm still working on that skill set.
Was there a trigger event for that, or was it you just started to learn that the meetings went better when you came up with questions and dug into what they cared about? Or did you see someone else do it and you go, wow?
It's kind of funny, but I have always been a big fan of
Yeah.
rehearsing a script. Back in the day, we'd put a fax machine side by side and we would demonstrate to the team or the manager. And thank you for having me in. And, it was a lovely drive and what a great town. And your office park's beautiful. And, we'd role play. And
Yeah.
the more and more you role play and the more and more you rehearse. And, people kept saying, Phil, I asked you a question, but you just went on to the next feature and the next feature. So through that rehearsal, through that role play, through just again getting your teeth kicked in, the little things every year. I developed this, I developed that, I improved on this feature or that feature. And I wish I could tell. I wish I could say there's a shortcut, but I don't think so. I think you have to. I think you have to take a few punches to truly learn.
Well, and it is a process, and it's a performance. Like that rehearsal is going through it because there's so many elements of it. There's your pace, there's your tonality, there's your energy level. Are you smiling or confused? And then, developing your questions.
100%. I mean, and we did have scripts. I mean, everyone had a script.
Yeah,
And I don't necessarily recommend a script, but I 100% recommend an outline.
sure.
100%. I
Yeah.
mean, I think 100% there is a welcome, an appreciation for being there, and an agenda. And I think it's important. You know, I can't thank you enough for inviting me to your podcast. I just want to be cognizant of your time. How much do we have allocated? And here's what I think we'll go over today. And did I miss anything?
Yeah.
And is there anything else you would like to see that I can add? And over the next 30 or 45 minutes, based on your schedule, if we can cover these items, would you be positioned at the end of this to move forward? And although, again, it was scripted, that really built the outline, the agenda. It kept me and it kept the customer on par and focus. So I do subscribe to it. I do rehearse it. I don't think I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think
No.
you can be genuine in delivering it and it's worked. It's worked for me. And I
Oh,
don't think it makes me less genuine following an agenda or a script.
no. It's, people say, oh, I don't like a structured process. It doesn't have to be that structured. If you go over a friend's house for dinner, there's a sequence you go through. How
Yeah.
you been? Ask about the kids, the dog, the career. Is it really that different?
No, no, because you're probably gonna A, knock on that door, B, show up with a housewarming gift or a dish,
Exactly.
thank everybody, have a welcome beverage, and then sit down at the table and talk about family and what have we
Friends and
done
current
since the
events.
last time we met?
And
So
it's the
true.
people who don't have a process and they bring up, a hot topic that's a bomb, right? That
Yeah,
the other people feel emotionally about, does no real meaning to the dinner.
yeah. And it's funny, but this conversation triggers another thing that helped me out. Um, I've been a big individual in writing down my goals. And they're not just my goals, they're my wife's goals.
More importantly.
Yeah. Like when you look at that list and it says new refrigerator, odds are that's her. But our goals are done yearly to this
Yeah.
day. And the goals have changed, but the goals are still goals. I wanted to put money away for college. I wanted to pay off a mortgage. I wanted to take the kids to Disney World. Now it's, I want to go to Europe for 2 weeks. Now it's 62 is the magic number to get out of the game. So the goals
Yeah.
have changed, but there are goals every single year, and I look at them. I mean, I look at them.
Well,
Granted, the slip used to be on the refrigerator. Now it's in the underwear drawer. But the point being, there is a sheet with goals, and it's helped me.
and I think it does, and I think people tend to put down like these huge ones that are way out, and but it sounds like you do annual, what you want to reach that year. Is that what works for you?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And yeah, they're income goals. They're income goals. They're presidents clubs, diamond clubs, their vacations. There's new furniture. There's pay myself.
Yeah.
I need to pay myself. I mean, I have a little slush fund, and every year I want to grow the slush fund. Of course, I'm never going to touch the slush fund, and it's got no purpose, but it gives me a
Security.
comfort level.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's there. I mean, so I reward myself, and when I hit it, again, it's another little thing where I go back and say, this was something I targeted, and here I am, and it's September, and we hit it. And oh my God, we still got 4 months left. What a great feeling. What a good accomplishment. Um, so those, I guess I'm that kind of person. I'm a little OCD. I don't know, maybe that's part of being a sales rep, but I have, in front of me, I have to-do list. I do to-do list all the time. I have little notes. It helps me. It gives me that everyday comfort level, what I want to accomplish.
Yeah.
So, God, it's funny. I seem borderline neurotic, but
Not at all. No.
it's really just played into where
Your
I am
system.
today.
Yeah.
You
Now,
know,
now
I'm
you talked
fortunate.
about a loss. You know, when you do lose a deal, especially a deal that you worked hard on, that you anticipated, that you felt you did the right things. How do you process that?
Painstakingly, um, uh, I feel pain. I
Yeah.
mean, and they stick with me. I can tell you more losses than wins, and I've probably closed 40 or 50,000 deals. But for some reason, I can tell you the losses and the wins seem to blur. I don't know why that is, but as far as processing goes, I do ask myself what I could have done differently. I do ask myself if I engaged all the right resources. I do look at events. Sometimes I can internalize and say I made a mistake. And sometimes I can internalize that I did the best I could and they didn't select me.
Yeah.
So, but it is a process, and I don't let go easy, and it will stick with me. Um, yeah, it's
Well, because I think reps look at it the wrong way sometimes, because that loss, that lost income off of that is the tuition you paid for that lesson.
true.
You know,
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. And that time away. And now here's something I did learn. I did learn to stop chasing the no winnables.
there you go. Yeah.
I did learn that when decisions were purely money motivated, to put in the level of effort versus the true value add.
Yeah.
So, yes, once again, through a 5, 10, 15, even 20 years, um, I have learned to put in what traditionally I'll get back. And, quite frankly, I'm not even sure there's much reward in winning a bid. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I mean, bids are very common today, and bids where you add in value and service and you carve out or you have the bid specifications directed towards your solutions, your products, and your value. I get all that. But when it's a legitimate, hey, we want these three, boxes and we're going to take the low cost, I'm not invested. I'm not
Yeah.
invested, and thank God,
Yeah.
because that would be a tough way to live.
And I think, what I call that, that's judgment. It's judgment and prioritization. If it's a blind bid, you don't know them. What's your likelihood of winning?
Correct. Correct. I mean, without establishing value, without building a relationship, without, as they say, peeling back the layers of the onion, without really diving in, there wouldn't be satisfaction in the win. Um, you know, so I think it's interesting, but when you look at deals over your career, but the most satisfying ones are the ones where there was an executed plan, a strategy, a presentation, competition, give and take, that, moment of crisis, and then it all coming together. Holy cow, all the resources, the team, the approach, and then finally the victory. And it is cool. And it is cool. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of the things that you love about the job. I mean, you almost love the win more than the money. And I love
Sometimes, yeah.
money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that accomplishment. I like that victory. I like it, and I like delivering on it.
Yeah, because I think a lot of reps look at the easier deals, the inbound, because inbound is good, but if it's inbound, they're probably not looking at just you.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. I
For
mean, now, um, you always need a combination. You need inbound, you need outbound. You could have telemarketing, you could be cold calling. You also, when you get a foot in the door, you have to grow and you have to expand. I mentioned on LinkedIn, one of the things that you had posted, something I learned maybe 7 or 8 years into the chase was before walking out that door with the deal saying, "Brian, is there anything else? Is there anything else I can help you with today?" It's amazing the amount of money that could be left on the table without asking that question. And, again, that's, so many things can escape you. But
Well,
when
that's a
you
great
truly
close.
yeah, but when you truly get in and ask and dive deeper and expand and, all fun and rewarding things that you learn over time. Again, no shortcuts, Brian.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure you're exposed to a lot of junior reps or people asking you for advice and help. What do you typically see them needing to hear versus wanting to hear?
Um, it's interesting. You can see behind me a payphone, and I used to drive all over New England looking for payphones to call the office and to call a customer. Today we walk
What happened to
around.
your iPhone?
Oh, I got an iPhone, all right. Today, you don't go to the bathroom without your iPhone.
Yeah.
So things have changed. Things have changed a lot. But what do I share? I think I share being genuine. I think I share being honest and ethical. I think I share to be persistent. Um, you know, someone once asked me, "What do I consider a normal day?" And this is just me, but pretty much from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, I'll take a phone call. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's just not that hard to say, "Hey, Bill, how you doing?" No, I don't have the answer yet. I've sent it in. Soon as I get it, 100%, I'm there. I got you covered the minute I find out. Even if you don't know the answer, but to take the call, respond to the note, you know, that's it. I don't think sales, it's so funny. It's the people that tell you sales is hard. People that say, gee, it's hard, it's hard, it's hard. They may not be salespeople. I don't think it's hard. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it's commitment and I think it's dedication,
Yeah.
but you have to be willing to take the call.
Yeah.
You just, and so what I tell junior reps, whether you like it or not, if you haven't been in that building, you should walk in that building and introduce yourself. B, if you don't know the answer, pick up the darn phone anyhow and say, I don't know it yet, but I'll find out. But I don't think you can hide anymore. I
Yeah.
think you have to be accountable 24/7.
And that's it, because any those calls that might be viewed as problems by some people are really an opportunity to expand the relationship, develop the trust,
Yeah,
and
100%.
create
100.
reciprocation.
Yeah. Is there really anything embarrassing about saying, I, I don't know, but I'll find out?
Right.
Um, I don't think so. And yeah, I think that you are establishing that I'm there for you and that I care. And I think customers, clients, relationships, which turn into friendships, are built by those phone calls. Um, some of my best friends today are convinced I know nothing about technology and I sell technology and I know nothing about technology. I can admit that, but
Well,
I can 100% say I will
get
always
you
be
the
there. I
answer.
will never let you down. No, I don't know how the copy machine worked or the interactive panel or the PC or the computer. I have an IT department. I have a support center. I have professional development. Being the quarterback is handing it off to a running
In the back.
back.
Yeah.
Being the quarterback is throwing the ball to a receiver. Being the quarterback is executing a game plan from a coach or a manager. I mean, that's really what we are. I mean, you know, I don't like the term rock star, and I hear it a lot in the industry. Um, I don't look at it like that. It's like you're the guy who brings it all together. You're like the air traffic controller.
Yeah.
Runway 2 and 3 are busy, send them here. I mean, that's really what I am.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, and I just
Cool.
thought of it. That's scary.
Yeah. Cool. Hey, Phil, I really appreciate your time today. Where can people go to connect and follow you?
Well, certainly I'm on LinkedIn and certainly I follow you. And I have to tell you, I've really enjoyed my time with you today. And I guess if I could leave anybody with any comment, I truly enjoy what you put out there on LinkedIn. I find it fun. I find it educating. And Bri, you are certainly never too old to learn something new. So that's why I'm always listening. I'm always learning. It's fun.